news, everybody! Big E helped the New Day stay together.
It's a sad day. Yes, it is.
I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luco and DAD. Welcome to the Raw Review Podcast. SAD. Oh dear. Welcome to the Raw Review Podcast on the WrestleTalk Podcast channel. If you haven't already, please share the grief. Press the thumbs up button. Give us a subscribe. Leave a comment down below with what you thought of this episode. And send in your chat gables to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5 before the end of the show. But our main topic today is the sad gables. The main topic for today is New Day's 10th anniversary celebrations.
So, long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, Ibu of Wrestle Purists said, oh, they've been, planning this for ages. This New Day 10th anniversary celebration, this New Day storyline that started when Karion Kross was first kind of like getting into Xavier Woods' head. So it's been going for like months and months and months. And it will not go in directions that you expect. And he was so right, because we have been fancy booking out the wazoo of what could happen at this 10th anniversary segment. And what happened is not what I expected would happen. I know there are some people who's like, oh, they'll turn heel on Big E. I don't think anyone could have seen like the things that Woods and Kofi said in this to Big E. This was exceptional television. And I'm going to use the word television there before anyone jumps the gun and uses the dreaded C word.
Yeah. If you're saying pure cinema at home, I know you don't mean it literally. I know you don't. But it still pisses me off. Because I'm done. Yeah, I'm done with just pretending that words don't mean the words that they mean.
I know, right?
And we're just going to use other words for things, which, every generation's guilty of. Bad, wicked, when they mean the opposite of those things. Pure cinema, I don't know what it is about it. It just really grinds my gears when people call things that are not pure cinema.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I mean, you mean to say that's absolutely amazing. The drama. I was totally absorbed in this purely. It felt like I was watching pure cinema.
But it doesn't, though. Does it? When I'm watching,
I thought that's what they mean with pure cinema.
Well, no, it is what they sort of mean, but I guess it's a me thing. But when I'm watching Raw, at no point do I ever feel like, this is like being in a cinema screen watching a movie.
No, but I don't think that's what they're saying. I don't think they're saying, again, that's too literal. I think it just means I am so absorbed in this. I don't really feel like I'm watching a wrestling show at a distance. I feel like I'm in it in such an immersive way because I'm so into the characters and relationships.
I think maybe I just got a wrestling at arm's length because I watched it. It was like, this is a great wrestling segment.
Well, I mean, it is. I can't believe you're making me defend pure cinema now. I hate it, but it is more intimate, right? It's not.
But it's good. It's really good.
But it's not a big flat like. The Owens Jericho Festival of Friendship segment, that feels like good old fashioned pro wrestling angle, an excellent version of it. But this is more, it's pared back. It doesn't go high when you think it's going to. It goes sort of almost low notes.
I'm going to disagree with you there because I think all WWE promos are designed to make the crowd go, oh! So it is like every.
Do you not do that in the cinema?
No, because we're British.
You killed my mum, said Iron Man to Captain America. Oh!
No, we're British.
Oh, no, he killed my mum.
We go to the cinema screen and just watch the movie. We don't get like involved in, the theatrics of it all or anything like that.
Yeah, if anyone gives a standing ovation to a film,
what a wanker!
I've seen,
what an absolute wanker!
Try and deadleg them. Oh, sorry, mate.
So it was an accident.
Sure, actually, sorry, we're getting carried away with the nonsense terms of the. So this 10th anniversary celebration has been built up, like Luke said, for half a year.
Yeah, and the rest. Yeah.
And somehow, unlike many other things that Paul Levesque has booked this year, hasn't felt drawn out.
I think there was a period of time where it did feel drawn out, because I remember Dan and I talking about this. Right. We used to say about like this Woods and thing is like, I think this sort of needs to get there at this point, because they were sort of like really dragging things out. But it felt like they were trying to overcome, because I think Kofi was out for a little bit, then Woods was out for a little bit. So they kind of had to sort of like paper over the cracks somewhat with the story. But I think in the last 4 months, 5 months, actually maybe even 6 of those months, I think this has just been the best thing in all of WWE right now. It's like, it's the storyline I'm most invested in right now, and I'm really enjoying like this Punk stuff. The opening segment of this show was
pure cinema,
fantastic. Was absolute, like,
say it.
It was the best segment on Raw since the New Day segment last week, and then this New Day segment managed to top that one. Like, this was an all-timer episode.
Yeah, really good episode.
There was a report from WrestleVotes that said that WWE sort of internally was saying that the day after Survivor Series was like the official start now of
us trying
in so many words. The ending of their thing was like, if Survivor Series felt underwhelming to you, it was likely by design, because they now are going into their big stretch of big things coming up. You've got Saturday Night's Main Event in a couple of weeks' time. You've got the Raw Netflix debut at the start of January. You've got the Royal Rumble, a massive Royal Rumble show at the start of February. Then you've got the Elimination Chamber in a stadium. Then 2 nights of WrestleMania, which WrestleVote said in a reply, they are going to have to justify the priciest WrestleMania tickets with an all-timer show. So now is like, so if you've thought, man, nothing's been happening in WWE for like the last 3 months. Yeah, it's because they've been saving all of it for this period of time now to build to all of the stuff I just laid out there. And this show was full of it. But this New Day one is a payoff to what has been really good, consistent week-to-week storytelling. So even though there's not been great things throughout Raw and throughout SmackDown, there's good stuff here and there. This, I think, has been the most consistently great stuff in WWE for the last 3 or 4 months.
The go-home angle for this last week was the best thing on last week's episode as well. So much so that we were more looking forward to this episode of Raw than we were War Games. And it was Kofi and Xavier, all their tensions for the last several months boiling over, and they said some very hurtful things to each other that they had been holding in. And they stormed off in their separate ways, and like, well, I'll see you at the 10th anniversary celebration. So we get to this episode, and here's the segment. Not the main event like I kind of thought it would be going in. I thought this would be like a whole themed episode of Raw with video packages and talking heads. Which, I think I'd probably still... that I would have changed that if I was in control. I would have... the set would have been New Day themed for the whole episode.
Yeah, that's a really nice touch.
So it's just for this one segment. It's at the start of the second hour. And they've dressed the whole ring and entrance area like it's a museum for the New Day. And
that's so when like they arrived separately, they do like the people arriving in the building. Yeah. But Woods and Kofi, despite the fact they was like, it's the 10-year anniversary of New Day, arrived separately for this. And when they come out, there's almost a look on their face of just like, oh man, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at Big Video's box. Oh man, wasn't that a really fun time? They both got to the Tomoga and throw out pancakes. And there was a genuine moment like, oh man, good times.
Yeah. So even though they argued, like a really big argument last week, they're here and they're like, they're not angry with each other right now, which is almost more emotionally impactful.
Because they talked it out in the week.
Whoa. Are you telling me wrestlers can talk to each other in the 6-day period between shows?
That's, I think, part of the magic of this segment is that you're right. Like, oftentimes it's just like, I haven't spoken to you for 7 days, but I have decided now that I'm on live television, I will address some of the things that you said last week. But here they open the segment and be like, look, we said some things last week, but during this week we've talked. So when they're making their entrances, they've already come to the understanding that this is the end of this group. So that's why they're like, there's almost this sort of, forlorn, like, it's the end of, man, what a good time this was. Look, there's Francesca. Like, oh man, the pancakes, the bootios. This was a good run, man. But I've come to accept that this is the end of the road.
Yeah. So, and that's what they say. That the crowd start chanting for Big E, and Woods goes, yeah, I know, we miss him too. Which at first when he said that, I thought, maybe he's not going to be involved in this.
Beautiful misdirect.
Really good shutting of that down. And Woods says, look, thank you to everyone, honestly. Like, you are as big a part of this as we were, and we couldn't have done this without you. we love you all, and we want you to know this isn't your fault.
It's like parents breaking up.
Yeah, exactly. And they're about to, give the news that they're over when I guess Big E's entrance music hits. I couldn't remember. Is that? I've got a bit of entrance music deafness in the Def Rebel era.
Oh, yeah. What's up with that?
So, did you recognize? I assumed it's Big E.
When they cut to the Titantron and in massive letters it said Big E, I was like, oh, this is Big E's theme. I assumed it was because I didn't think anyone else was going to interrupt this segment but Big E.
Yeah, but and I thought the crowd, like, rather than go way, it was. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. That it was his theme because I think a lot of us might have been expecting to go, oh,
exactly. Yeah.
And I would have got a bigger pop, but I'm glad they didn't.
I disagree.
I'm glad they didn't because Big E's performance here is a sad performance. So you can't.
I think you can do both. I think you can do that.
No, you can't. The Miz thinks he can, and he can't.
You can't even see him on screen. He's doing it behind in Gorilla.
No, I think he needed to come out very serious. Because he doesn't know the conversation that those two have had in the week. So him coming out here to address his brothers can't go from like San Diego! Don't you dare! I don't know where they were. Don't you dare be You can't do that and then be like, I now need to talk to you very seriously about what you said.
I think you can. But we'll disagree on that. So Big E comes down and he says, he says, stop, don't break up or whatever. We all love each other. He reminds them of that. And until he's medically cleared, so getting in there that he's not medically cleared yet, at least in kayfabe, hopefully, I'm going to be here every week as your manager to make sure we can keep the New Day alive.
There was a really great bit of sort of behind the scenes, New Day origin story that Big E laid out here because he said, what you guys said last week troubled my soul.
Yeah.
And I think it's because you and I have just covered this period of time in WrestleTalk Extra. He said, like, Kofi, 10 years ago before this group formed, you had your passion for this business beaten out of you.
He was a Hall of Famer, apparently. Hall of Famer candidate.
And you and I know that because you and I have been watching, we watched this period of time for WrestleTalk Extra over at Patreon, where it was like, oh, Kofi's he's a nothing guy. And he said, me and you, Woods, we were on the verge of getting fired. Because Big E had that push in early 2014. It just did not work out for him. He was just doing flag matches with Rusev that wasn't going anywhere. Wade Barrett and stuff. And it was just like he was so under as a character. And Woods was just a guy on the roster. So I thought it was like really nice to give that, the real emotional of this. And then he talked about the neck injury and what happened. You came to see me with your new child and you left tear stains. Like I left tear stains on you. And then, I'm not medically cleared, but I can help. I can come back and I can get us back on the same page. And Xavier Woods just says, oh, now you come back.
Yeah, now you want to come back. E, you left us. And when Xavier said that, I was like, well, that's pretty mean. But not out of character.
Not out of character.
When Kofi then said the same thing, it was like, oh no.
That's why it was so great for Woods to be the first one, right? For Woods to go like, so now you want to come back? Because of course Woods is going to say that. But when Kofi, my first name is like, Kofi agrees!
Yeah, really heartbreaking. And Kofi says, look, Stone Cold broke his neck. Kurt Angle broke his neck. Edge broke his neck. They came back. You haven't even had surgery. It's been 2.5 years. I'm like, you can't say this to your friend.
And then Woods is like, look, I was out for 9 months and actually had surgery, but I came back to help you.
Yeah. And then they say, look, Big E, look, you chose your new life. You've chosen your desk job. You've chosen your new girlfriend over us.
Yeah.
And it cuts to the crowd, and there is a guy who is just like this. Like, he is so sad, as we all were.
Yeah.
When you see that, you're like, okay, it's not just me. And Woods says,
do you realize what a burden you've become?
Yeah, you're never going to get medically cleared, Big E. Get out of our ring. And I never thought they'd say stuff like that to Big E.
Mm-hmm.
It was so, usually you don't blame people for having neck injuries.
That wasn't their fault.
So when someone, you know, a group of people who are meant to be so close together like the New Day do that, and you're really invested, not just in them, but the relationships between them, it's a weird friction of feeling both really, really upset that it's happening, but also there's a bit of you going, he hasn't come back though.
Sort of right. And it was that line when it said, do you realize how much of a burden you have become to the New Day? Because everywhere we go, people keep asking, where's Big E? He's the Poochie of their group. It's like, where's Big E? Like, when's he going to get medically cleared? When's he going to come back? So like, even in all the interviews they have to do, they have to talk about Big E. And he's not coming back. He's been there. He's been there doing like the pre-show panel. They were talking about that as he was coming out, being like, hey, he's been doing stuff before the pay-per-views. He's part of the pre-show panel, but this is the first time he's been on Raw or SmackDown in like a good number of years. And so they're right. He has been there, but he's not been there for them.
Yeah. And then Big E just walks out the ring really sadly.
Which is like, so is this it?
Yeah.
It's like, they'll, drop all the mics. Is this it? Is this it? And they're like, yeah, get out. Go back to your desk job.
And then when he leaves, Kofi and Woods just look at each other and they shake hands. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I don't think this is healthy for them.
No.
This is not a healthy way to deal with the anger they had before. But, silver linings, Woods and Kofi, in that moment, I genuinely believe they were going to break up.
Me too.
But through the experience with Big E coming out, they realized, well, I don't know if this is true, but they channeled all of their anger at each other at Big E, and they bonded over that because then they could go, it's Big E's fault. It's not our fault. And that's it. Brought them together in quite a sad way.
I completely agree. I think they had the intention of coming out to break up, and Big E coming out. It was the line. It is the line of, also now you've come back, and Kofi realizing, oh yeah, this is a problem that you've now decided to come back and try and help out here. And it was much like last week where they just let their emotions pour out of them in a very, very real way. The same thing happened here. And I thought this was just superb. Superb television, superb wrestling, just great character way. And that's the brilliance of this. It's characters. It doesn't feel like actors playing. It feels like real people just letting their emotions go. And these are well-rounded characters with true feeling emotions. Feeling emotions. And I can't say enough good things about it. I thought that everyone was superb in this segment.
Superb television. We'll go one further. Pure cinema.
It's pure cinema.
I thought
Tarantino was behind the camera.
They've done this now, so I guess we've got a heel New Day,
which is so great. And it kind of hit me like after I'd finished, because like there were so many other great things on the show, but this is the one that's really stuck with me. It was like, oh yeah, they started out as a heel group, and they've
been face for so long.
Well, accidentally got turned babyface because New Day Rocks was supposed to get them heel heat.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, but it got them babyface heat in the end, so they had to turn them babyface, and then have just been babyface ever since. They become like the babyface act of WWE, and now they're back to their heel ways, and they haven't been heel since like their original formation.
Last week, we were trying to think, okay, where do they go next week then, or this week? And we had, Woods could turn heel on Kofi, could beat down Big E, and he gets a singles thing there, but he kind of then has to win the world title. Don't see that happening. Kofi could go off, be a babyface singles. They could stay. Big E could convince them to stay together, and they go on a babyface run to win the tag titles back. That does feel like a bit of a step back, though. I wonder if they've got anything. What other possible routes are there? I don't recall. Definitely us. I don't recall seeing it anywhere. Oh, New Day could still kick out Big E, and both of them could turn heel.
Yeah.
And now it's the most exciting they've been as a potential tag team division threat.
Well, and this
for years.
This show needs a fleshed out tag team division, and these guys can be at their head of that. Get the belts off the Judgment Day, get them onto New Day. I can't say enough good things. I thought this was fantastic.
Actually, later on, Adam Pearce had a chat with Finn Balor. He made Finn versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. That's Saturday night's main event. But he also said, but next week, we'll have a chat about your other titles.
Yeah.
I can't think of who else it could be.
War Raiders.
But then you need a babyface team to take it off them for the New Day to win it, really.
Yeah. Or, I mean, hey, it could be Alpha Academy. They did beat New Day last week.
Let's see what you'll think in the Sad Gables.
Sad Gables.
The word chat isn't even in that word now. Sad chats. Blake Whitehouse says, I knew Kofi was going to go heel based on the necklace he was wearing. It was the Magjin symbol from Dragon Ball. That symbol is a curse that brings out the smallest bit of evil in the heart and makes them more powerful and evil.
So wonderfully dorky, these two lads. Because last week they were wearing Dragon Ball inspired gear, and we had loads of people messaging being like, it's a Dragon Ball reference!
Nice. Ben Vlerick says, least exciting outcome for New Day? Oh, E is out. Wasn't he already? Before the injury even. So now what? Kofi and Woods still a team? They've already done it all. What's left? Was hoping for a singles run, especially for Woods. Hopefully it still happens somehow. Don't get me wrong, cool for them to finally be serious heels, which is a first, but you spend weeks teasing something big for it only to be, nah, they'll still be in the tag division, is rather underwhelming. There is a ceiling on tag teams. Singles gold, damn it.
I agree to some extent with what Men is saying there, because there is a ceiling to the tag team division.
In WWE.
In WWE. Like, there is only so far you can go as a tag team act. But really, like, if Woods wins the IC title, yeah, so what? Like, I think the only belt Woods wins as a singles championship that would mean anything is if he won the WWE championship, because that's the belt that he's been jealous of that Kofi and Big E won. And Woods isn't going to become WWE champion anytime soon.
Yeah.
I actually think this is the most interesting outcome.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, Ben. I'm sorry. Kevin says, so I wrote earlier today, I am not okay. How? Why? What is happening? Why is this happening? Why are we doing this? No, this cannot happen like that. I refuse. No, this is not okay. I'm not okay. Someone tell me this isn't true. Oh, wow, he's carrying on. I'm supposed to get to work and the train is late. So it's just me and my feelings right now. No, you can't do this to me, to us. No. Please, tell me this isn't true. Not like this. Not after 10 years. I just can't. So yeah, that's my review. Oh, and then I had this update on my feelings. Now I have to deal with Karion Kross saying he's proud of the terrible things he did. He's trying to F on me. This segment and this episode broke me. But Chris Yim's Twitter activity gave me life.
You're absolutely... Karion was right.
Yeah, I've seen someone also post a shot of like Ridge Holland's success on breaking up tag factions.
Because you broke up KCU as well.
And it's just this unbroken run of victory graphics. Matt Hennessy says, wrestling is the best when it can make you feel a certain way. The New Day segment was brilliant. I wanted them to come back together, and I thought Big E would bring them together. I didn't think both Kofi and Woods would turn heel. I thought they would all come back together, forgive but not forget. Or maybe that Woods would turn heel. But to have Kofi and Woods both go heel and blame Big E for their issues was a good twist.
Yeah.
You hear that, Vlaric? I didn't see it coming. It's heartbreaking, and you split the New Day up, just not the way many expected, and you did in a way where you've managed to make the audience hate Kofi and Woods because of them blaming Big E for getting an injury that could end his career. WWE also managed to keep Kofi and Woods together as a team while also freshening them up.
That's exactly it for me. Absolutely 100% could not agree more. That's why I think the segment is awesome, because it's the Kofi turn.
Yeah.
Because Woods has already been kind of like this for the last few months. So it's when Kofi joins in on the Big E bashing that like this segment completely like becomes this whole new thing. I also agree as well, and I think this is where, you know, it's the disagreement of like, this is cinema. Is wrestling is at its best because it makes you feel a certain way. Wrestling is a sport that isn't like any other thing in any form of sport or entertainment. Genuinely makes you feel things that other sports can't make you feel, because it's a story and it's a soap opera, and that's why wrestling is magic. But it's not cinema.
I am really curious, by the way, on your point, Matt Hennessy, the heat that they'll get in their next appearance.
I think it's going to be like the heat they got in this segment. And this was a crowd that wanted to cheer heels. We'll get to Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor later.
Ricardo from Spain says, I'm sitting here with my heart broken after the awesome New Day segment. Big E returns in the Rumble confirmed, but What the hell were those dirty Dom chants during the Gunther match?
It's because there's Gunther babyface turn. Ain't working.
Will Campbell says, "Hi guys, that was probably a top 2 or 3 heel turn segment in wrestling history. The things that Kofi and Woods were saying to E were at least a little true, but seemed needlessly vile. Big E looked genuinely devastated leaving the ring. I feel quite sad."
That's it. And it didn't have the killer ends line. It was just like, get out of here, we'll call you when we need you.
Cameron P1 says, "I don't watch Raw live, but watch this segment after the fact. Wow, really wasn't expecting that. I wonder what their character work is going to look like now they've finally turned heel. But this definitely means E is cleared / close to it right. Jam that jam."
Do you think he is?
As soon as he said, "until I'm medically cleared," I thought, oh, there's a chance he's already medically cleared. And then when Woods said, "You are never going to be medically cleared," I was like, he's definitely medically cleared.
That was the line that did it for me. When he, the only reason I thought he's not now is because they didn't do like an attack angle. But maybe again, that's to make you think that he is not. But when Woods said, "You're never going to get medically cleared," I was like, oh, for sure he's going to be cleared at some point soon. And
as soon as you attack Big E in this segment, it becomes a normal wrestling angle.
It's very true. It's not unlike Kenny Omega when the Elite beat him up on Dynamite earlier in the year.
Charles Berg, 42-month Memberg. "What happened with the New Day was heartbreaking, but hearing Chat Gables always warms my heart. Thanks."
Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Charles. The Fire Samurai. Charles usually has something snarky or a bad pun to say. So even that's how the sincerity has broken Charles Berg. Charles Berg. Charles Berg. Sorry, I've never done that.
How's that never come up before?
The Fire Samurai says, "I absolutely love this episode. I feel like I saw my friend group break up, and I absolutely gasped when Kofi said, 'So what? This is wrestling?' Yeah, doesn't need to be pure. This is pure wrestling.
It's pure wrestling.
It's normalized saying that wrestling is wrestling."
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I hate this thing so much, because it makes people not want it to be wrestling. Whereas wrestling is special because it's wrestling.
It undermines wrestling.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Rivanel says, "The line of 'it's not your fault' to the crowd from Kofi and Woods was so good." I agree.
Yeah.
To like they laid that out at the start. It's not your fault, because we all know whose fault it is. Perfect reflection of when parents have a difficult conversation with their kids about breaking up. Them delivering that together was so well done, knowing the eventual outcome. Mayor of Painesville, Dan. Hello, Luke. Hello, Ollie. Hope you're well. In 2014, back when I was a young 62 years old, the New Day was born. No tag team act never lasted that long on the WWE main roster. It broke my heart. I legit feel bad for Big E. A home run, even though one that hurts.
Yeah, absolutely a home run.
We're seeing a lot of names in the chat who, maybe we've not seen recently. So this has been emotive enough to really.
It has. Yeah.
I just saw the 1,500 concurrent live viewership.
1,700 now.
It's almost double what we usually get.
It is. Well, it's double from what we've had for the last 3 months. Basically, between SummerSlam and Survivor Series, when WWE just sort of do stop trying. I think that shows like what an impactful episode this was, because it's not just this New Day segment. It's the Punk Rollins stuff at the start. It's the Drew McIntyre return. It's who attacked Jey Uso. Nothing in the women's division, but there's like a lot going on this episode of Raw.
Dakota Kai might win a belt. Heiko says, "So sad, so well executed that in my dreams I was backstage to compliment them for their good work." That's the kind of nerd I am.
That's beautiful.
I have a recurring dream where me and Triple H worked together on my debut. Have I ever said that before? It's honestly, the last year I've had that dream about 8 times. So, I love it.
And as genuine, like recurring, like, are you always in the same area?
There's little details that are different, but it's the same gist.
Because I mean, my wife and I were talking about this recently, and I've actually never really told anyone about this before. But I've had a recurring dream like since I was about sort of 8-9 years old. I go to the same house. I have this like house in my dream world that I do go to like every couple of months or so. And it's the layout of it is always the same. But there's like certain tweaks that have been done to it. Sometimes it's different people owning it. Sometimes I own it. Sometimes I'm moving into it. But I've been to the same house layout. I've visited the same house a lot in my dream world since I was like a small child. And I'm turning 40 next year.
And what happens?
Well, it depends on what I'm there for. Sometimes I'm there for a party.
So it's always the same house.
Always the same house. There's certain bits that I know, like they did a really big like reno of it the last time that I went to visit it.
It's like it's a real place.
Well,
Yeah.
It's real to me, damn it.
Yeah.
They'd moved the toilets. And they had to put signs up to let regular visitors know that they've
it's
now
consistent.
Yeah, it's always consistent. Well, now
It keeps continuity.
now the toilet's moved to a different area.
I don't want to concern you, but I think you might be in a horror movie. Just keep an eye out.
There's never anything been bad about it. It's quite a nice place.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually a really nice house.
Rafael Garcia says, Hunter Hearst Helmsley doesn't like us having nice things. I understand things in life are inevitable like death, taxes, and the McRib, but the New Day segment ripped my icebox where my heart used to be out of my chest and punted at 50 yards. I'm upset.
I'm upset. In all caps, I'm upset.
Hey, Triple H heard everyone say, keep New Day together. And he kind of did.
He did.
Geordie bus driver Harry Iverson, 2-month member. Again, another name. See, they're coming out the woodwork. I can't believe the New Day segment. What a promo and performance from all three of them. My heart was breaking.
It's beautiful.
Project Worm says, there are so many ways that the New Day segment could have gone. Woods turning on Kofi, Kofi turning on Woods, which sounds like a porno. Big E bringing them all back together, a swerve where maybe E turns on them both, but I didn't see this coming at all. ... Pure cinema. Anonymous, the New Day breaking up hurt more than my dad leaving me. Sorry, I didn't. It's pure abandonment. That's what it is.
It's pure daddy issues.
So sorry, Anonymous.
Sorry.
Ralph Marion, Avenge Ralph, 6-month member. Hello, gents. Hope all is well. Since E has been kicked out, what happens to their theme music? Oh, they absolutely get heel theme music next week.
You just got to slow it down. Boom. Boom, boom.
And it's just like Wood saying, it's our new day.
Yeah. It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Got to remember that we hear E first to start it. Oh, yeah. For the New Day entrance. Topics Everything podcast says fantasy booking of New Day, and at the Royal Rumble, Buzzer hits with New Day in the ring, and Big E theme hits, whatever that is, and Big E returns, and this sets up a New Day triple threat at Mania 41, or if Big E is not cleared, New Day brings Obafemi as their new Big E. Odyssey Jones. Where was Odyssey Jones going to fit into all of this?
Remember what happened to him?
Yeah, I know. Yes, I do know what happened.
Right, you're asking what
but he was in the plans.
Yeah, I don't think that was going to last. I think he was going to go off into a singles thing. But yeah, I do wonder.
That was August, right?
Yeah. I might ask around, like some people that I know, see if they might be, because I don't know if anyone's asked about that. What was the plan? Or if anyone even knows. I mean, I don't see how it can set up a triple threat at Mania, because you've just put these together as a heel tag act. Because I've seen some people be like, oh, maybe Big E can bring in a new tag team. Like, I don't know. I think I'm kind of into that, really. Or even those like Big E. I'd rather just Big E and Woods singles match than a Big E Kofi singles match.
Yeah. I don't want to see a triple threat. Akihiko Sanada. Can you turn... I think there's a reverb thing. Yeah. Akihiko Sanada says, this New Day segment was so effective when I told my friend who barely follows wrestling what Woods and Kofi said to Big. We've started a meme. We've started a trolling thing. What Woods and Kofi said to Big E, he said he now never wants them to win anything. So yeah, very effective and the absolute cinema.
Use a different word. Like, if you want this to meme up on the WrestleTalk podcast, use a different word for what it is. It's pure theatre.
It's throbbing cinema. Impact says, I'm calling it now. Big E returns and we get a triple threat match. This newfound bond between Woods and Kofi won't last.
I hope that it does, though.
Yeah, I think it'll be...
I hope it does.
I think it will be a waste of what they've done here to go back on that. Anyway, please keep getting in your... sad chats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one. Over $5 before the end of the show. Now, the full play-by-play recap from Everett, Canada.
It's a lot to get into on this show. I don't know if it's wrestling, but there's a lot to get into on this show.
We get a recap of Survivor Series. We get Woods and Kofi entering separately, which we've discussed. No biggie. And then CM Punk's shown arriving backstage. He shakes hands with Jey Uso. Jey Uso seems pretty warm to the guy.
Yeah.
Whereas Sami, Zayn, a little bit of tension, but they do shake. And Punk walks out. The camera follows him. He goes to the ring. And they do a little recap thing saying Roman stopping Punk entering at number 3 or more games has 104 million views.
It's the most watched Instagram reel of 2024 by WWE.
That plus the Punk announcement getting monster numbers. I think there is someone backstage in WWE seriously going, guys, pivot to this sooner rather than later. Punk is made of glass.
This has accidentally become a much bigger WrestleMania match than all of the WrestleMania matches they were building for Roman Reigns.
And now Tony Khan would absolutely not change a thing and keep continuing on the path.
Yeah.
And Triple H, I think, wouldn't want to either. But this year he did massively change Seth Mania plans several times. Some of that was forced upon him. So I'm hoping that they do see this and lean into it as opposed to pushing it away.
I agree with you. But this segment here felt very much designed to let you know this is what the WrestleMania match is. And it's Punk and Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship.
I don't think it has to go that way. So let's get into what happened. Punk said, last time I was here, I didn't know what the future held for me. But now I've handled my personal stuff, Drew McIntyre, helping my friend Paul Heyman. He's going to focus on what he's always wanted. And he points. And I thought, what? What's he point? Did you get it right away?
WrestleMania sign, yeah. Well, that's the meme, isn't it? You point to the WrestleMania sign. It's WrestleMania pointing season.
I just thought someone was in the crowd, like...
No, when he got up on the turnbuckles and pointed.
I'm not criticizing this. This is on me. But I was confused for about 10 seconds.
Yeah. Some of us wrestling fans are pretty switched on to these things.
It wasn't pure cinema, that was it? Because then there would have been a reverse shot pretty fast. Or they could have CGI'd, like crossfaded it in what he was imagining.
Yeah.
And he points at where a WrestleMania sign should be, and he says, I can see it. It was a good promo. It was a really nice way to build it up. And he says that he's got a favor to get to WrestleMania. Maybe I can finish my story.
I don't need. He's like, the one thing I want here is to win a world title. Like that's why I've come back. Is I've got a goal in mind, and a way to do that would be to win the Royal Rumble or to win the Elimination Chamber. But I don't need to do either of those things now because I've got a favor that's owed to me by Paul Heyman. Essentially saying, I can just get a world title shot whenever I want. I don't have to jump through the hoops of winning matches.
I don't know why Heyman would be able to do that.
It's got the sway, man. It's got the stroke.
I think the Heyman favor is far more interesting if it's Roman related, because Heyman definitely has power there.
Yeah, not if he beats Gunther on the debut episode of Raw on Netflix.
I think it's a good idea. I don't want it to happen because you're talking about it so much. Anyway, Seth Rollins interrupts him, and you can see Punk off mic go.
Yeah,
like he swears. It's very, very good. Seth comes out, does a little dance.
Of course he does. What do you expect him to do?
Just walk down seriously like the Bronson Reed feud.
But that's not his character.
I wouldn't say dancing like a prick's a character.
Well, Rollins would. And he's been doing it now for 3 years, so get on board.
And I was so worried he was going to get into the ring and start his stuff. But credit to the guy. While he was dressed like an absolute dickhead, he was serious on the mic.
So what you're saying is you wanted him to do like what you wanted Big E to do, was to do his big comedy entrance and then go into the super serious route.
I don't mind it from Big E. I'm inconsistent. And Seth says, look, I should have knocked you on your ass the night you returned at Survivor Series last year. I might do it now. And Punk has a really good sort of retort, says, I don't think about you.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know why you're so obsessed with me, because I haven't thought about you in ages.
It's really good. Like, I'm in this feud that I don't even know about. I've moved past the personal stuff.
The thing is, that what I love about Punk is that I think he does.
Guys, I've moved past all of my tiny grudges that I don't hold.
This man is just like, I'm not a petty person. He literally made an all-out press conference joke at the Survivor Series press conference because he is not over anything that happened.
And now, this was a great line though. He says, look, you don't have a championship anymore. I don't care about you.
Yeah, you got nothing I want.
Yeah. Seth then pushed Punk over and they start brawling. Jey and Sami run down. That was good. They were foreshadowed earlier, set up, and they have another pull-apart brawl, more security jump in. And Jey's with Punk and Sami is with Seth in the ring. And Seth's on the mic. He says, yeah, Jey, go with him just like you did with Roman.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sami's like, whoa, cool it. And Seth says, hey, I can understand it with Jey. At least he's family. These killer lines, similar to the New Day segment, where it's like they've really done the work to set up the character allegiances and feelings towards other characters.
Yeah.
These lines really hit hard when they get delivered.
It's it to a degree. I think this one doesn't quite land for me because we just did a whole segment about how he is family.
But Seth's saying he's not family.
Yeah, I know. So, but we've literally just done a whole segment where the family have said that he is family. So Sami is family to that group.
Oh yeah, but it's still a thing,
but
and Seth's called that out.
But that's why I don't think the line works as well, because we just did and now the crowd chanted, "No, we know it'll be his though, because he's Sami Uso."
Well, that's why I think Seth's the heel in this scenario. He's saying a thing that Sami and the whole gang have moved past.
Yeah.
So Seth is being a dickhead by bringing that up. So then this I liked the Seth Punk stuff, really liked it. But it was the Sami Seth stuff that gave it a whole second part to this segment.
It's just like it's carry on thread, like a lead on it, and that's why I loved about this, because while I didn't love that line, everything else I thought was beautiful. Like he said, "You stabbed me in the back when you teamed with Roman Reigns." Like that is a killer line right there. Yeah. This whole idea of just like, no, you should have been loyal to me and our friendship because we, grew up together in Ring of Honor. So you should just like honor that stuff. That more than like we've been family way longer than you've been family with them, or even considered you were family with them. And then Sam was like, well, you created this monster in Roman Reigns when you hit him in the back with a chair 10 years ago. And Rollins was like, you did the same thing. You also hit him in the back with a chair.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for that. Yeah. Like, he's a prick because he hasn't changed. And then the same with the New Day stuff, where the perceived heel, says stuff, and you go, oh, actually, maybe he's got a point there. I mean, I'm not saying it in the nicest way, but I see where he's coming from. Seth said, Roman's not apologized.
Yeah, which he hasn't.
He's the same power-hungry, horrible guy as before.
He's a snake.
Yet everyone's teaming with him.
He's a snake, just like CM Punk is a snake.
This is the same stuff that Kevin Owens is saying to Cody over on SmackDown. And we're all going, well, KO's right.
KO is right.
He's right.
And a lot of Seth is right. A lot of guys are just team. Punk's got an excuse. Punk got a favor out of it. Yeah. Sami did it out of loyalty to Roman, even though Roman's actually done nothing to earn that loyalty and that forgiveness for what he did to him. So Rollins is completely 100% right in having a go at Sami for this. He's just being a knob about it.
And they really, really do hit an impasse there, because they're like, well, I can't. Well, neither of us are going to back down. We've both got really valid points against each other. All right, let's have a main event. And the way that was all set up is, we see it so often in WWE. Here's the opening segment. It's going to set up the main event, blah, 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 blah. But I thought this was really well structured for the show.
When I saw the match lineup that they had announced for this show, I was like, they're going to have to announce another match to be the main event, because I don't think it's going to be Truth versus Pete Dunne as the main event of this show.
Well, that's why I partly thought it was going to be
the New Day. I thought this, nearly 30 minutes of this show
flew by.
I
didn't know that the opening half hour was going to be commercial free.
Me neither.
And I watched this whole thing. I was like, oh, okay, we must be about 15 minutes in, I guess. It was half an hour long.
Stunning. Absolutely. Like a great all-timer opening segment. I thought this was absolutely awesome. And again, I think this is like, for me personally, watching this, I was like, I came out and being like, well, that's your WrestleMania match then. It's Punk versus Rollins for the world title.
Well, we'll see. Backstage. Finn, JD, and Priest I've written here. Carlito are on one side of the shot of the clubhouse with Judgment Day. Dom, Liv, and Raquel are on the other. Finn says, hey, when you listen to Finn, you'll win. Because, I mean, was it you or Tempest who said this earlier? Finn's win-loss record?
Oh, yeah, so apparently he hasn't won a singles match since like last year.
Yeah. So he's talking about how everyone should listen to him about winning.
Well, he has won 2 tag matches.
in
this year.
6 months.
Oh, 3 actually, if you include the one where they won the belts.
So there's tension there. They confirmed it's Liv versus Io Sky at Saturday night's main event. I guess we've got to get through that.
I mean, well, hopefully they're going to really build her up in the next segment to make you excited for that match.
So it's Damage Control versus Liv and Raquel. Was this a tornado tag?
No.
Okay, so they just went right into the final third of the match.
I think that opening segment ran long because they're just going right for the hot tag spots.
Yeah.
Like, this match went like under 1 segment.
Like boom, 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 action, action, action. Damage Control, get a near fall, but what happened?
Raquel Rodriguez pinned Kairi Sane.
Fast action, hot tag. Fast action, hot tag. Liv broke up the near fall because Damage Control nearly had it won. Raquel chokeslammed Kairi to win.
Yeah, she hit the Tahani bomb.
So you're building up Liv versus Io. So Io really should pin Raquel here.
Well, no, because you've got to heat up Raquel because she's facing Rhea Ripley next week.
Oh, yeah. But if you were properly doing Io versus Liv...
Which they're clearly not.
And Io wasn't just... what we thought Rhea was going to be out injured longer. We made her number 1 contender.
If they were doing this properly, Rhea Ripley would not have pinned Liv Morgan at Survivor Series to let you know this is actually the Women's World title feud that you should be getting excited for.
So Rhea runs down afterwards and she brawls, and Raquel threw her face first into the corner of the announcer's desk, presumably kayfabe re-injuring that orbital bone. Yeah,
well, they can't be that bad because they've got a match next week. It's Rhea versus Raquel, which has got DQ written all over it. I'm being slightly, glib about these sorts of things. And saying they're putting all the focus on Rhea Ripley, and I think that's where some of the sort of the backlash against Rhea's coming in.
Yeah.
However, if you are WWE, you would be doing this because do you hear the reactions that Rhea Ripley gets? Do you all of her segments do monster YouTube numbers? All of her segments do monster social media clips. She gets the biggest reactions out of anyone in the women's division. Of course she should be the man. I would love it to be Io Sky. I'd love for Io Sky to get a push. Io is not getting Rhea Ripley reactions. Rhea is the most over person in the women's division. She should be the world champion.
Can't deny that. Make it good then.
We're talking about, have you seen the lineup for the Intercontinental Championship picture?
Okay, so Finn and Dom walk up to Gunther backstage. Finn says that he should get a title shot because he helped Gunther win at Survivor Series. Gunther said, no, I didn't ask for your help. I needed to win that match by myself. So Gunther said, you know what? I'll face Dom instead tonight because Dom was standing right there.
Sorry, there's someone's. It's Absolute Radio. Which I think is already my favorite one I've seen. So Brian Alvarez reported over the weekend that they're turning Gunther babyface. And I was like, I guess he did punch Finn Balor or boot Finn Balor at Survivor Series.
It's been bubbling as well. There's the Kaiser stuff. There's the Cody handshake.
And then I was in the same and I was like, oh no, I think you're just a babyface now. Because this was a babyface thing to do, to be like, I wanted to win that match on my own. And hey, I'm going to use my stroke around here to get a match with Dominic Mysterio, one of the top heels in this company, going by crowd reactions and stuff. And I was like, oh, I think you're just a babyface now. And then what happened later on, I was like, and it's not worked because you've done a really bad job of turning him babyface.
Yeah, and people don't want to see it. So talking of, because you just mentioned it, you jumped the gun of the Intercontinental title women's picture. We have the classic 4 three-way matches to decide four
three-ways to determine two semis for 2 singles and a final.
Intercontinental women's tournament. So let's run through the competitors here. Remember, can you remember some of the names that are in the SmackDown version of this?
Well, Bayley,
Bianca
Belair, Jade
before
Cargill.
She got taken out. Lash Legend, Bianca Belair,
B-Fab,
of course. So decent names. Here's who we've got on Raw: Dakota Kai, Katana Chant, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Raquel Rodriguez, Kaden Carter, Lyra Valkyria, Zelina Vega, Ivy Nile, Alba Fire, Kairi Sane, Natalia.
Last week, I said, I don't think this roster's deep enough to have a women's mid-card title on Raw as well. And someone was like, they've got like 30 women on the roster. And I was like,
yeah, on the whole main roster.
And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Like maybe why do I think this isn't a very deep roster? Oh, that's why. Because when you actually write down the names, you're like, oh, there's no stars in any of this. This is real weak sauce. This belt's going to mean sweet FA in a couple of months' time.
So Dakota Kai, Katana Chance, and Shayna Baszler had the first three-way here. It was a fine match, was just back and forth action, and Dakota Kai got the win, so she's advanced.
Yeah, everyone came out to anti-pops.
I suppose Raquel Rodriguez wins against Stark and Carter?
Not unless Rhea Ripley costs her.
So Stark... It should be a heel to face Dakota Kai in the semis.
Yeah, why not Zoe Stark?
So let's say Zoe Stark. Then you've got I think Valkyria beats Vega and Nile.
She bloody better do. She's up against Zelina Vega and Ivy Nile. She bloody better win.
Then you've got Fire, Sane, and Natalya. Well, there's an idea that Natalya could win because IC belt, Heart Connection.
Yeah, because Owen and Brett won it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess. It doesn't inspire excitement.
So maybe, like Valkyria is my favorite name to win here, but she hardly been presented on TV.
No, she had a 3-week push when she first came up. I actually think Dakota Kai is going to win this tournament.
She did get a video package last week.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of. No, I won't go into it. Like it's fine. Like it is. It already feels like the women's tag titles of this is not really going to matter a great deal. And it's nothing against anyone who's in this tournament. It is WWE's piss poor presentation of the women's division in 2024. This is all of they have reaped what they have sowed.
They need to call up some people. They need to bring back some people. Give the women's rosters on the Raw and SmackDown more depth. Then we got the New Day segment. It was extraordinary.
So good.
Karion Kross is backstage in a sort of pre-filmed promo. He talks about Nikki Cross attacking Scarlett. He's going to make sure the Wyatt Six burn in the fire they started.
Having an 8-man tag next week.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'm looking for... Next week's show looks stacked.
Right. Well, that's because they're in the period of caring again.
Then we got Dom versus Gunther. Dom comes out with Carlito and JD, crucially not Finn. And Dom, got... most of the match-ish that we saw, a lot of it was in the ad break. He got a low blow behind the referee's back on Gunther. It allowed him to run wild with the 619 and stuff. And maybe it's because it's Ray's sequence. Whoever does that sequence, it's hard not to go, oh yeah. You know what I mean?
I almost think no one's getting into Gunther's title run. There's someone let this comment on a recent WrestleTalk news video, because I kind of talk about my Punk fancy booking page, and they were like, oh, typical wrestling fan, you've wanted Gunther to win this world title for so long and now you want to take off him immediately. It's like, well, I want to take off the person that's not working for. It's not Gunther's fault that WWE have presented him very badly since he won the world title. And I get the feeling with Gunther, I was going through it, it's like the problem with Gunther as world champion is they don't want him to beat any top guys. He's only feuding with mid-carders, or he's not beating top names. He's just defended it against nobodies, and it can't beat Cody, can't beat Seth, can't beat Punk. So you're just feuding with Finn Balor and Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio, Sami Zayn. It's all it doesn't feel big time.
Those are IC challenges, really.
Unfortunately, this World Heavyweight Championship has become the fourth most important thing on Raw, and it's not the main event scene. And now that you're turning him babyface with no real good justification behind it, of course the crowd are going to start cheering for Dom, because I don't even think it's a Ray thing. Because when Balor comes out and he attacks Gunther and hits the coup de grace, the crowd chanted one more time.
Yeah, so Gunther hit a powerbomb to win. He was bleeding. Apparently that was from the Priest match of the weekend, so he already had sensitive skin. And when Dom hit him, it busted it open again. But yeah, Gunther wins, but then Finn attacks him immediately afterwards, hits a coup de grace, and then tells Tom, watch and learn, kid, and hits 2 more.
Something like beat Randy Orton. They only did that match because of a botch. They would not have done that match if he'd have just won at King of the Ring without the botch.
Kathy Kelly's talking to Pete Dunne backstage. R-Truth is confused whether he's facing Butch or Pete Dunne, and Pete's like, well, it's Pete Dunne. Oh, there's something more interesting happening. And Jey Uso had been attacked by a mystery person with some sort of metal clanger.
Think it's Punk?
No, I think it's Drew.
Anything it'd be more interesting if it's Punk?
Let's go to the end and see. So no one knows who it is yet. Pete Dunne has a match against R-Truth. He gets distracted by the crowd chanting Butch. R-Truth rolls him up and wins. Kelly is then interviewing Bron Breakker. They reveal Sheamus has broken ribs, and Kaiser walks in, all cocky, and he says, he's got like the best arched eyebrow in the business for me. And he says, I didn't win at Survivor Series, but I took out Sheamus instead, and now I'm coming for your belt.
Yeah, great. Well in for this.
Sami now wants to know what happened to Jey. He's screaming at Pierce, and he thinks Seth Rollins did it. So Sami storms out for the main event full of vengeance. In all this, Finn also talks to Pierce, and that's when Pierce makes it Gunther versus Finn at Saturday night's main event. But next week, we'll talk about your other title that you should defend.
Yeah, I'm not into Gunther versus Balor for this title. But you know what? Damian Priest will come out and cost Finn the match. And, yeah.
Another match Gunther didn't win.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, it's got to further the bigger feud. Kind of like my whole Rhea Ripley I was saying earlier. Damian Priest is more over than Gunther is. Like, he probably should be the world champion at this point.
Well, that's because they just booked Damian Priest to make Gunther look like a chump for a month.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be this way. It's like, oh man, Gunther's not working. Could it be all those things we did to make Gunther not work? Could that be it?
We've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas.
So Sami comes out for the main event against Seth, and he's full of fire. He goes for goes for Seth. He pretty much dominates him, I would say.
Yeah.
Goes outside, gets a chair, comes back in, is screaming at Seth, you attack Jey, and Seth convinces him it wasn't me, genuinely. So Sami drops the chair over the top rope, comes back in, walks into a Seth roll-up.
Didn't love the finish, but I thought the match was very good. I enjoyed the fire from Sami Zayn. And I think the Jey attack beautifully did a lot for like the fire that Sami had going into this match, because he'd convinced himself that it was Seth Rollins. Even though, like, you know, I would have had Seth Rollins quite low down on the list of people that were... Seth Rollins doesn't feel like the sort of person in this era of Rollins who would just be attacking people backstage for no reason.
Yeah.
But Sami's was such a hothead in this moment that he convinced himself that it was. And I actually think that led to some good drama. Not a great wrestling finish, but some very good drama.
Well, Seth had a really good line off mic to Sami afterwards. I love your heart, but you need to start listening to your head.
Yeah. Yeah, which
is really good.
Yeah, good drama. Not a great wrestling finish, but very good drama.
This show didn't have a single... I mean, did it even have a single good wrestling match on? It just had matches on.
Yeah.
And most of those matches, like this is the closest I think we came to a proper match.
I think the women's three-way was probably the best match on the show.
Yeah, I guess so. But this wasn't a match. It was a chapter in a story. It was more of an angle than a match.
Yeah.
And
that's not a bad thing.
It's not a terrible thing. And this whole show worked really, really well from a storyline perspective. And what really gets people going in wrestling at the moment is storylines and angles, not great in-ring wrestling.
Yeah, well, as AEW story right now, right? Like,
exactly.
It's where the best wrestle is not working out for them, because what people are after are the characters and the stories, not just great in-ring wrestling.
So I think, like, I don't mind that this wasn't a great wrestling finish or even a good in-ring match. It was just, I'm watching this scene in the pure cinema that is WWE Raw.
Like I wrote at the start of the Dominic Gunther match, my note is, big segments mean there's not a lot of time for wrestling. And there was not a lot of time for wrestling on this show, because this was not a show for the wrestling bit. This was a show that was all about the story bit. And I think that absolutely works. And it worked for this main event. As I said, didn't love it as a wrestling finish, but as a bit of drama, as a bit of television, it was very, very compelling stuff.
Now, I thought we were going to go off air with the attacker shrouded in mystery.
Me too.
When a hooded bloke, very tall, very sexy, got into the ring and hit a claymore on Sami.
Yeah.
And even when he hit the claymore, I was like, who is it? Because I'm an idiot sometimes. And then he took the hood off. I was like, oh, it's Drew McIntyre, of course.
Because Joe Tessitore even said, who is that? And Wade would go, well, he did hit a Claymore.
I'm new around here, Wade. So yeah, Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore on Sami. Drew's back. Awesome.
Yeah, I was not expecting him back to the Rumble.
And now it's like, well, I think Sami and Jey, they both tagged with Punk.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why Drew is taking out Sami and Jey.
And Sami, so I made the Punk thing like it would be more interesting if it was Punk. But that's just because I'm going down this fancy booking route of him being back aligned with Paul Heyman, and Heyman turning on Roman Reigns. But more likely, Drew McIntyre is the obvious answer here, and I'm all for it.
Yeah,
and I think this was genuinely a brilliant episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, best of the year for me.
It's certainly the best since WrestleMania.
Sorry, yeah, best since WrestleMania.
Because like WrestleMania, some of those Rock episodes of WrestleMania, the Rock beatdown of Cody around by the production truck, like it's some of that stuff I thought was all timer for this year.
But they were still 3 hours long. I like the 2 hours.
But I think if they had a third hour here, and I'm not defending 3 hours. Believe me, I'm not defending 3 hours. You might have got some good wrestling on the show.
Don't want it.
Because that's it for me. I like both of them. Mm-hmm. I think that's currently where I get so much great wrestling drama from WWE. I get so much great wrestling from AEW. But I'm like, there is a wonderful happy middle ground where you can have both of them. And I don't think either company can really figure that one out at the moment. But this was a superb episode of Monday Night Raw. Like genuinely, that New Day is one of the best they've done all year. That opening segment was one of the best all year. Then you've got the Who Attacked Jey Uso storyline. Even if you want to just it was just Drew McIntyre. There's still, I suppose you can't do two Who because you're doing that with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. But you got the Drew return. Yeah, such a newsworthy episode of the show, of Raw, which we kind of needed as well because Raw has been lacking.
I gave it 85%.
I'd have given it higher. I don't know, why are you so low? Why are you such a hater, man? Why do you hate WWE so much?
Because I've got a really good tracker of...
you just hate... Why don't you just like wrestling?
It's the highest I've ever rated Raw.
Why don't you just like WWE? You just have to hate on everything that they do.
You've
said one negative thing about this show. Therefore, you hated the whole show.
I said a lot of negative things.
Yeah, so you hated the whole show. You didn't like a single thing on this episode of Raw. That's the way that this goes.
Let's give give your ratings. The thing's gone up now. The poll thing. Do the poll thing, everybody. Let's give a big shout out to our wonderful Patreons, our Pledgehammers on Patreon. The Balding Brummy, Brett Linforth.
Big Jiggy, Josh Martin.
Abominable, Michael Abbott.
Born to Do It, Evan Shipley.
The Machine Gun, Alex Anderson.
Go Ace, the Ace of Spades, Adrian St. Dill.
The Cleaner, Kenny Shah.
The British Bulldog, Philip Boy J. Smith Jr.
The Roller Coaster, Robert Acosta.
Yo, Adrian. Rocky.
He can last Sean Fur longer than you in the ring.
And lastly, for this Hall of Fame class on the 3rd of December 2024, where has the year gone? Starbucks, Stephen Costa.
You can get your own shout out by going over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Go over there right now. Sign up. Because you can watch the whole of Monday Night War, The Last Chance between Luke and Pete. That's 12 episodes long up there right now. That's probably 20 hours, right?
Yeah.
15 hours.
Yeah, like that. There or thereabouts.
And on Monday the 9th, next week, who cares about Raw? Because the war begins between us two. It's Mustache Night War. Back when we had them. It's Luke versus Ollie. In my GM mode. Yeah,
we filmed it. It's going out for the next 12 weeks, starting next week. The draft day episode will be going out free over on partsFUNknown, and then head over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk to watch the series week by week. It was so much fun. A wild ride of a series, I would say, and I'm really looking forward to people checking it out. And also, if you want to check some stuff out, over on Cutscene, we did our next episode, our most recent episode of Survival Series, where myself, Oliver Davis, Tegan, Ash Millman, and who else? Oh, it's Sullivan, Bo Brown, were tasked to name every Disney animated movie.
Justice for Goofy.
To clear up some confusion in the comments, because I know what Tempest meant by this when he said every Disney animated classic, which is a different genre of Disney animated movie to Disney Toon stuff, which is like a Goofy movie, or DuckTales, Treasure of the Lost Lamp. But there's a lot of people like, oh no, it was released theatrically. It is, but it is not a Disney classic.
Right, last call for the sad chats. We've got a note here as well. According to Cage Match, Finn's last singles victory on TV was against Dragon Lee on the June 3rd Raw.
There you go.
Before that, it was September 15th, 2023, against AJ Styles on SmackDown.
So he's won 2 singles matches in the last year and a bit.
Whoa. Somebody stop him. Jack MQ says, firstly, thanks for using my moustache on the WrestleTalk news last week. Thanks for donating. Dom and Liv's Cyber Monday segment gave me a 2025 epiphany. Post 41, I predict Liv and Dom will become the first Intercontinental Champion couple.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Yes, so, yeah, when...
Dom is Intercontinental Champion, though.
When they started doing, like, heels doing, advertising sales... Like, why are you? Why can't you just get baby faces to do this?
James Dobinson, really good episode of Raw. Nice to finally start some new storylines. Thought Seth was superb and all his points were 100% accurate and justified. The New Day heel turn was a good move. Glad they're not splitting up. Dakota Kai should win the IC title. Stephen Costa is a 30-month member. Lads, that was a smashing episode of Raw. Hope you lads are good. I was right with Moustache versus Moustache Monday night. Was excited. Thumbs up.
He messaged me on Blue Sky to be like, "This is what's happening, right? This is what happened." I didn't want to reply because I don't want to be like maybe or like a side eyes emoji. So I wasn't ignoring you on purpose. Well, I was ignoring you on purpose, but I wasn't doing it maliciously.
Well done, Costa. Kazoo, I love how Roman has a stranglehold on WWE that every top feud is because of him in some way. Except the New Day. They're just assholes. Haven't been this hurt by a breakup since The Shield and New Day formed that same year, ironically. Damn, yeah.
Well, what I love about that is that, like, I wasn't hurt by the breakup of The Shield. I was annoyed by the breakup of The Shield because it was not the time to break them up. But this one genuinely did hurt me, and they didn't break up. And I think that's what kind of like stung a little bit. I thought it was so great.
Space Viking. Holy crap, did you hear the Dirty Dom chants? Got me thinking, are they trying to turn him face? He didn't get the beatdown match I expected, and I've noticed that he isn't cutting promos anymore since the fans have been conditioned to boo when he talks.
But that would require turning the Judgment Day babyface. And you can't...
No, because he's sort of... Finn's bullying him in the Judgment Day.
Oh, so you think the fans going to get behind Liv and Raquel?
I don't know what they're doing.
Well, I think that's turning. It's not Dom turning babyface. It's Gunther badly turning babyface.
Polaris. I'd say New Day didn't attack Big E because heels nowadays are nuanced. Just because you are misguided doesn't mean you'll attack someone with a broken neck. James, I love this Raw for setting up so many fascinating threads for the men's Raw main event scene. You have Punk's favour looming and the Seth and Sami stuff. I think Drew's return is a red herring and Seth attacked Jey for sure. Oh, I feel like Seth's been ruled out of that.
I would say Seth's ruled out of it. I mean, don't you just wish that there was this much effort in the women's division? Because the men's division's got like everything going for it right now.
Shellhard. This is by far the best 2-hour Raw so far. The New Day segment was sad but excellent. But what is Triple H doing with Gunther? When I saw he will have a match with Finn at Saturday night's main event, I thought, don't pull my boy in the Judgment Day vortex. Good show.
Too late, bud. He's already in there. He's there. He's been there for 2 months.
TWJP. Wow. Definitely wasn't expecting both Xavier and Kofi to turn on Big E. In your opinions, does this mean Big E is never going to be fully cleared as a wrestler? P.S. Luke, did you see that Faith No More is on an indefinite hiatus?
Yeah, like it's kind of been that way for like they don't tour a huge amount anyway, but yeah.
Faith No More by nature.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to see them live when they reunited in like 2009. 2010, whichever one it was. I'm glad I got to see them then. I got to see them twice during that tour.
But yeah, what was that?
I do think the Big E is going to be cleared. We kind of talked about it earlier.
We think
but
he's cleared, yeah. The way they said the lines.
Yeah, it was Woods' line that kind of tipped me off.
Ryan Marshall. This episode of Raw was awesome. Opening segment was great. Dakota winning to move on was good. Shayna as IC champ would be great for her. But that New Day segment got me so excited, then just ripped my heart out. Amazing work by them. And does that mean more heels on up, up, down, down now? But I needed Gunther to trounce Dom a little more to help after that segment to make me feel better. A decent beating nonetheless. 4.5 out of 5 show for setting up so many storylines.
I think the up, up, down, down's out of continuity.
But yeah, we fantasy booked a Dom versus Gunther match, I think 2 months ago. And it wasn't this one.
No, unfortunately not.
UltraChats says, not to be political, but I think it was a good Raw. I mean, go ahead and cancel me. I don't care. But that was the best Raw of the week. I don't care if I get cancelled. It was good. It was the best Monday Night Raw of the week.
That's good.
Will Campbell. Hi, guys. More about the New Day segment. Big E wrote a powerful article, great read, in the Players' Tribune about his childhood life wrestling and how much the New Day meant to him. It's called Sour. I'm reading it. Makes what happened feel even worse. Yeah. Makes you think, is it all kayfabe? Rob Burnwell. Big E coming out to his own music instead of the New Day just fueled Kofi and Woods to say that he chose himself over them, and it was soul-crushing. That's a good point, actually. Homer Star says, I think Judgment Day might be my least favourite thing in wrestling right now. Love everyone involved, but I'm so ready for it to end, especially when it's affecting both the tag and women's divisions.
I'd agree.
The field team leader. Hey guys, it's time for the road to WrestleMania. There is nothing that evokes excitement than Triple H with the pen, pre-existing storyline webs to weave, and a whole WrestleMania season to book. They've earned my faith in the last 2 years.
Absolutely could not agree more.
Mr. Eli Mack. Ollie, you describing pure cinema is pure cinema. Also, I'm currently sick in bed, and I'm happy to be spending it with you guys talking about Raw. This was a great Raw, and I'm hoping that it's leading towards a way for Big E to return to in-ring competition with a big New Day feud.
I'm just so... Much like last week, I kind of was like, I don't really want to spend too much time fantasy booking what they're going to do, because I just want to see... I just want to experience what they're going to do. I really am feeling that. It's like, I don't know what the direction is going to be, and that's truly exciting.
Jose Marte says, 2 of the best segments of the year in this Raw. By the way, I sent my idea for you guys to expand WrestleTalk to other languages to support at WrestleTalk.com. I hope you like it. Maybe also to hear from you guys soon. We are very busy right now with Christmas stuff, so it might not be until the next year. But thank you for sending it in.
Thank you.
Anonymous. Hello, lads. Love the show. Looking forward to the new series of Monday Night Wars. Monday 9th of December on patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Luke versus Ollie.
Anonymous right here. Read out the rest of this chat.
I was wondering if either of you were ever fans of the old PC wrestling management sims Promotion Wars or Extreme Warfare Revenge in its many incarnations.
I was an EWR player. I think I've told this story on the podcast before. I nearly failed university because I played too much EWR. I used to play it during my seminars because I'm not an academic person. I'm a bit thick. And so I would just get easily distracted, and I would just play EWR. And if I didn't have my laptop with me, I'd have my little sketchbook out, and I'd write down like what matches I could do and feuds I could get. Maybe try and sign some of these people. I got so into playing EWR. Like I didn't like much of the when they. It was better when it was really simple. The one they came out with after that, which I think was TW or TWE, TEW. I can't remember exactly what it was. That's when you had to like time out matches to fill out a whole show. That was a little bit too much. I was much rather the more simplistic version of it. God, I used to play for hours on end.
Charles Berg, here's some pure cinema alternatives. Good dialogue, well written. It's like a movie, what with the good words and the sad faces. Gut-wrenching performances. Smack my ass and twist my nips, that was good. I hope this helps with the chat's walking vernacular. Temruza, everybody! Guys, great to see you. Was happy to see the stout flowing with you, Ollie, on the Survivor Series reactions. I had a Guinness or two. Hope you had a fun night, but damn, the moustache just came off immediately. Hope you guys are good and get down here. It's been too long already.
Has been. Yeah, you got rid of yours pretty sharpish, right?
Oh God, it felt so good.
Yeah.
Just shaving it, like a weight fell off my face.
I'm now in the awkward phase of trying to grow back this bit, which I think come mid-December. I was going to say...
The David Brent.
Sorry?
The David Brent.
Well, I can't grow any other facial hair, so I have to do that. I was thinking what would be quite a fun experiment is for someone to watch all of our Christmas content and see if they can work out what order it was filmed in based on my facial hair growth back.
Cameron P1. Oh, hey, Luke. A few of my old chats got missed for the last few weeks. How was the Alien Ant Farm concert, and did you check out Vanna? Also, JD and Finn's tag match in OTT shows how good the team can be. Wish they'd do more there.
I don't know if your old chats got missed. Let us know, our moderating team know, because we do read out every chat that we get in. Alien Ant Farm was good. Yeah, I was saying to Ollie earlier, they kind of front-loaded the set with all the hits. They played like, Courage, Wish, Movies, These Days, the 2 singles off the new album, which meant that the back half was a lot of deep cuts, even maybe attitudes notwithstanding, but like deep cuts. And you could feel a very antsy crowd being like, just play Smooth Criminal so we can go home, mate. It's Sunday. I'm quite looking forward to going home now. You
just wanted them to hit the back half harder, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm always about hitting the back bit. If I am, I'm just like get there into the back side of things. But they did it off with Smooth Criminal, and that was good fun. And then I was walking home. It was raining, and I dropped my earbud. I've only got one earbud that works, and I dropped it in a puddle. And so it didn't work. Also, I did check out Varna, and I'm afraid to say I did not like it.
Robo Knight says, yeah, Raw was great, whatever. On to more important things. What is y'all's favourite Paw Patrol episode?
Great.
Please be as descriptive as you want. Wait, I have to go. I've got to go in like 3 minutes. Don't do a thing.
I'm not going to do a thing. There is an episode where Sweetie steals the throne, and she kind of carries it like she's trying to find a new place to go. It's great because it's got cameos from Tracker, and it's got Everest in it, and she steals the air patroller to get around. It's a really good episode of the show.
Aunt Peggy McDonnell is a brand new member. Thank you. Anonymous, thank you for your little donation there. Team Ghost Rider, INC, just donated $5. Thank you very much. Homer Star says, also, whilst I do still love Rhea, I do worry that focusing mostly on her is the reason why the women's division is struggling. Case in point, those few months at the start of the year when she was out, they really didn't push anyone else.
It's exactly the problem, Homer Star fan.
Anonymous, I was at the show live. New Day segment broke my heart. Thesaurus says, you should plug cutscene more. It's nice to see Tegan dominating Survival Series for a change. She destroyed that Survival Series episode.
She studied. Thinking that topic was going to come up. She studied. But yeah, I'm glad that you said we should plug cutscene more, because I feel like there are some people like we plug things too much.
And finally, Artorius says, hey guys, been watching since 16. I remember when KO and Jericho broke up, Ollie was doing a top 10 matches every month, and he put their breakup at number... It was only the second list? At number what?
What did you do it?
I was curious if he'd put New Day's breakup as number 1 if he did it today. I probably wouldn't. No, I love the Festival of Friendship. I think that's number 1.
And I think the reason I would wager why is because Festival of Friendship was like a really great segment in a dreadful year of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, they were the shining lights. The whole list gimmick was so over.
Whereas there's quite a lot of good things on Monday Night Raw now. So this is just another good thing on a very good show. But whereas like back then, 2016, 2017 Raw, yeesh.
I think it still stands out as a great thing there. And finally, We Jock Poo Pong McPlop is a brand new member. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let's do the poll before we get out of here.
It's a big thumbs up episode, which you would expect. It is 90% thumbs up, 7 in the middle.
Holy hell. Well, thank you so much. Please go to patreon.com/WrestleTalk to check out all the exclusive content there. I've been Ollie Davis. That's been Luca and DAD Jam. That jam.
Ollie's got to go.